And I'm recording to the cloud right now.
Yay. All right. So Carol just hopped on. Hey, Carol. So we're just inviting you guys to turn on your video if you want to, mute your sound. And I think we can probably mute it from this end as well. But mute your sound. Sometimes we get feedback on these Zoom recordings. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to my friend Keith. He is one of the more amazing healers that I've worked with. I connected with Keith inside the NES practitioners group, which all of you know that I am a NES practitioner. And so in the group it's a professional group, and we have the opportunity to now have some additional sort of continuing education. And so Keith has been sharing information about traditional Chinese medicine, which he is a practitioner of. And so I reached out to him because I thought, it would be really interesting and really nice to get some additional help for myself. And I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and try to mute yourselves because we're getting a little bit of feedback on the line. So it looks like Shari and Jennifer, if you guys could mute your line, that'd be awesome. So anyway, it's not letting you?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Okay, so maybe Keith, can you mute her from your end?
She found it. Okay.
Okay.
I was actually looking for it on mine.
Can you mute me?
I'm looking to see if I can find, I'm also on my phone, so I'm looking to make sure I can do that from here. And nope, there you go. You're in.
All right, perfect. So anyway, I asked him, I reached out to him and asked him if he could, sort of help out with helping me to evaluate my own scans. Most of you guys have had scans with me, and that there's some certain things that I look at when I'm interpreting what the scans are saying for you. For some reason, it's hard for me to look at my own and to really get what it's showing me sometimes. So I asked him to help me with that, and he did his magic, man. I don't even know. He's gonna have to tell us what he does because I don't even know. But he did something, and it was a very, very powerful healing session for me. So part of that session was that he shared with me that there's a technique that we can use. It's a type of Qigong that we can use to actually cultivate more qi within our own energy system. And sometimes, we're doing all of these things. We're doing this energy work. We're doing our healing work. We're eating better. We're trying to do all these things to feel better. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's working. And I think for me, it was really because my qi was so depleted from doing all of the work that I do, doing the Reiki every week, 3 or 4 times a week, and just not knowing that I needed to replenish the qi in my own body as I continued to give and work with people. And I just simply didn't, I just didn't know that. So, so now that I've been doing this practice for a little while, it has really shifted things for me. And I'll talk about that in another minute here. But first, I just want to go ahead and complete introducing, that's all right, hon. I want to complete introducing Keith and let him say hi to you guys. So without saying anything else, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, Keith.
Okay.
This is Keith Coley. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Crystal. I appreciate it. And I will, like I said, I'll be able to be a little more and better light once I get downstairs, once Angel arrives. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been here for quite a while. I'm from the Midwest originally, so I don't have a Southern accent. And I graduated from the Academy for 5-Element Acupuncture 14 years ago. And not long after actually before I graduated, we had a guy come in. His name was Paul Frazier from Boston, and he had to teach us Tai Chi and Qigong for our requirements for the program. So this guy comes in there, and he picks up an acupuncture teaching doll. Okay, it has all the acupuncture meridians on it, all the points, and you can show people how they run and how they connect, and they're really useful. So he picks it up, and he points to one of my classmates. He goes, "Hey, what kind of pain do you have?" She said, "Well, my right leg bothers me quite a bit." He said, "Okay." So he pulls out a box of needles, acupuncture needles, and puts a couple in the doll. And my classmates were looking at him like, what in the world are you doing, man? What is this? What, you doing a little voodoo here in the middle of acupuncture class? How's this part of the curriculum? And my classmate, she goes, am I supposed to be feeling something running down my leg right now? And he said, it's possible. She said, well, I do. And so for the next 30 minutes, she had all this energy running down her leg. And he kept putting a few more needles in. And so we're like, okay, what gives, man? How are you doing this? He said, well, it's a Qigong treatment style. And, you know, it's called Tongren. It does this. And you can do anything with somebody because it's serving as a surrogate. So needless to say, that was the seminal moment that got my attention. I'm like, okay, so this whole program I've been doing, they've been holding out on us. There's other things possible with energy they haven't been teaching us. And that's because the faculty didn't know. They don't know how to do that stuff. I venture to say that there's hardly an acupuncture school in the country that has that kind of knowledge and teaching it in the curriculum. So he was bringing something to the table that got my attention. He said, hey, any of you guys want to come study with me? I'll do that. I'll teach you guys what I'm doing. So I went up there, and he started teaching me things that were outside of the program, taught by him by Chinese guys that had immigrated to the States because of political oppression. So the second step, he said, is you've got to meet this guy, my new teacher. His name is Master Owen Wei, and he's the most powerful healer I've ever met in my entire life. I said, well, dude, you're blowing my mind. What do you mean he's the most? What's he like? He said, this guy, he could treat 100 people at one time, and he wouldn't break a sweat. And they would all feel it and feel very different afterwards. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, well, I don't understand. He goes, well, you got to cultivate energy, man. I said, okay, I mean, it's Qigong, right? I've heard of Qigong. He goes, yeah, but not just any Qigong. He goes, I know over 40 styles of Qigong because I had, really serious illnesses growing up as a kid. And Qigong and Chinese medicine got me out of the deepest state of, terminal illness when Boston hospitals couldn't help me. And I'm telling you right now, what I've learned from this guy, nobody touches it. I said, okay, I'm all in. So the next time Master O came to Boston, I flew up there from Missouri, and I learned an entire weekend from Master O. And talk about blow my mind. I mean, Paul had blown my mind, but Master O had ripped open the sky like a scroll, and information was pouring in that I'd never even thought was possible. So the first thing I had to do, though, was to learn this Qigong form to start the foundation of cultivating energy. And so I had some concepts. You're going to Chinese medical school, you're going to have some concepts about energy and how you store it in the body, but I didn't know how to do it. That's the funny thing about it. We were talking about it for 3 years straight. I didn't know how to do it. So what I did is hang on one second, we're going to play a changing of the guards here. And I'm going to head downstairs. Changing of the guard. Yay. The child is excited.
Mommy's home.
Mama's home. So much better than Dad. All right, let's go down here. All right. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to swap out here, and I'll continue my tail. So forgive the jerkiness of the camera here. And let's go here. And flip this around. And the lighting isn't too bad, all right? Okay.
No, you got good lighting there, actually. It's pretty bright.
Yeah. Okay, and we're in. Oh, man, that worked out well. All right, straighten it up a little bit. Hey, perfect. Oh, it makes me look like I have a tan. It's such a lie. Okay. And my camera's swiveling here. So, yeah, he taught me Qigong that weekend. Okay, I'm going to make you guys spin and forgive me. I'm trying to lock this thing into place. Forgive me. And this is going to be great on the recording. All right, I think it'll stay now. So, yeah, he taught me this form, and I could feel the energy right away. It's not that way every time you learn this form. But he said, what's happening, Keith, is when you're doing this very simple Qigong form. And he goes, and a lot of Qigong can be very difficult. Take a long time to learn. You can mess it up. You can hurt yourself with it. And I was like, whoa. I said, I didn't know that. He goes, yeah, it can be a mess if you're not careful. I said, okay. So he said, this form, though, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. And it's going to cause all this energy from the cosmos to flood into your body. And it's going to start storing it in your bones. Okay. He said, chi like this gets stored in the bones, It can get stored in the connective tissue. It can get stored definitely in the lower part of the body called the lower dantian. And I said, okay, so I know that from school, but I'll tell you guys, the lower dantian is the navel region, okay? So for women, it's about where your uterus is. And for obvious reasons, you're going to store life there so you can do what? Potentially make a baby. What perfect place to store a lot of your chi is right there where you're going to make a baby. And for guys, well, it's just hanging out, you know. it's there. So, which is why I think women store a lot more chi than guys do naturally, because you've got this beautiful storage device. It's called the uterus, and the guys are left out in the cold. So sometimes being a guy is not an advantage, I'll tell you. So yeah, we're learning how to do this. He said, you're going to feel it over time, but what's going to happen whenever you're learning this, or you're doing this Qigong form every day, it's going to start storing the energy up, but it's going to have so much intelligence in there that it's going to start moving things that are in these storage areas out of your body. I said, okay, so what's that going to feel like? He said, well, that's going to start moving the shocks and traumas in your life, the old illness remnants that you've had from viral and bacterial patterns. It's going to move anything in there that doesn't belong. There's so much intelligence in this form, it's going to move it out. I'm like, whoa. I said, hang on a second. Okay, so how in the world did Master O make this form? Because I know that most Qigong teachers are long dead. You know, 1,000 years ago, 1,200, 1,500 years ago, long dead. So it's very true. In fact, he goes, that's how Chinese medicine, that's how they figured all this out, Keith. That's how they mapped all of these pathways in the body, was by the ability to go inside of their own bodies and have such awareness that they could feel the energy moving, and that's really how they mapped a lot of this. I was like, whoa. He goes, Master O is of that caliber. I said, wow. He goes, it's so unusual to have somebody alive, and then us have access to someone here in the States who has that kind of ability. So I knew I was onto something beautiful because you just don't have, I mean, I'd been asking for this in my life, and I was in a little town in Missouri. So, you know, I find this guy, I find Master O, and I'm off to the races on this cultivation thing. So I said, well, what's the difference between like this and other forms of Qigong? He goes, well, sheer quantity of energy that comes in. And like I said, there's so much intelligence in the energy. It knows where to go, what to do. It starts to pull things out of your subconscious layer, out of your body that you're not even aware of. You wouldn't even know to go look for it. And it automatically starts bringing it up for you. And so you're going to feel some, you know, law of cure, they call it in homeopathy. It's where the things that have, like I said, remnants have been sitting in there will start to come to the surface and be released. So you can have some limited, like for instance, I had scarlet fever a number of times as a kid. And when I started doing this Qigong form the first year, I had some low-grade temperatures and things like that that would pop up for a few days at a time. Nothing debilitating, but just noticeable. And I was like, hey, Paul, what's going on here, man? He goes, it's the Qigong form. It's helping to unload all of the baggage that you've been carrying, taking up space, weighing you down, taxing your immune system. And it's bringing it to the surface to get rid of it once and for all. Whoa. He said, yeah, man, not all Qigong forms do this. And in fact, he goes, outside of Qigong, I don't know of any energy forms that actually cultivate Qi usually at all or much, and none that cultivate to this degree, this quantity. And here's the clincher, that are this easy to learn how to do. In 90 minutes, you know how to do this form. Period. I mean, it's just that simple. I taught my 7-year-old daughter years ago when I became an instructor, and she learned it right away. No big deal. It's not a hard thing to do. And like I said, it's unusual, and you can't mess it up. You can mess up the form, but you're not going to hurt yourself. You'll still cultivate energy. And so it's the most life-changing, miraculous thing. It changed my practice immediately, Crystal. He said, when you go home, Keith, from here in Boston, learning this moving form, you put your fingers on the needles and just say the password phrase, and that energy is going to pour through your body into these needles into your patients. You'll have an immediate jump in the efficacy of your treatments. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you twice.
And I'm not sure how I should be muted. I thought I was muted.
You were, Jennifer, and it unmuted you, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It's okay. So, you know, and it did. Paul wasn't kidding. When I applied this to my practice immediately, it started making a difference. And he said, that is another thing that's different too, Keith, is most Qigong forms, you've got to cultivate for quite a while, years, to build up the energy to really pass along to somebody with that type of noticeable effect. And he said, and, you know, don't get an ego, man. It's not about you. It's the form. I said, yeah, I gathered. So, you know, that's been the miracle of 14 years, that every month, every year, it gets better, and I get more energy. I can store more. I can treat more people in a week at one time, because I'm just diligent with it, you know. It's like if I said I'm going to become a marathoner, and you're like, well, do you train? Absolutely. I got to train every week, or I can't do a marathon. This is no different. You know, there's a guy named John Cheng. He lives in Indonesia. He's Chinese by birth. Very amazing martial artist and practitioner. And John said this. He said, everybody can learn how to swim. Not everybody's Olympic class material, but everybody can learn how to swim. It's a birthright to be able to cultivate energy. And Master O says, most of humanity walks around, and we are 10,000 times under the amount of energy that we can cultivate, hold, and use in our creative life, and every creative aspect, not just in healing. This is the force of life. It is life force. It is what allows you to have an abundant life, is having enough life moving in your body. And since we don't know anything about it in our culture, most of us are running around on empty. Even when we have great nutrition knowledge, you know, much better than ever before, we've got information at our fingertips because of technology. So much that we swim in a sea of it and get confused at times, and which way do I go with this? But even with the best understanding, I've never found that will bring you enormous quantities of life force in your body. And when you have more life force, everything that you implement, every supplement that you use, all your whole food choices, they all get assimilated better. They all work better in your body, because you have what a corpse does not. It doesn't matter how much nutrition you give to a corpse, to be a bit macabre, it doesn't matter, because there's no life force to assimilate what you're trying to infuse into that body. You have to have life in you to assimilate. And so when you have all of this, it changes. It's a game changer, like nothing I've ever seen. Okay, I'll let you talk. I'm sorry. I've been running.
No, that was great. You could have kept going.
Put the quarter in and let him go.
No, this is awesome. That's even more information than what I had before. So I appreciate, you know, like just more and more, like keep coming. No, you know, just for the edification of the ladies here tonight, I think I've mentioned to a few of you, the changes that I've noticed, and I've been doing the form for about a month now. But the day that Keith taught it to me, and I was doing the form and you know, moving my hands, and of course I'm sensitive to energy in my hands because I do Reiki, you know, all week. But I could feel it, like, wow, this is like, I'm actually really like noticing something here. The second time I did the form, it was like I felt my engine turn over. There was a surge of energy that like was right here. And I was like, whoa, what was that? And I have had just noticeable changes in my physical body. And again, like I know I've mentioned to several of you already, things that have come up, like maybe old residual stuff that was just kind of stuck, like in my sinuses, my lungs, having just a moment, like a day of just this weird, uncomfortable, I don't know, like symptom, and then it's gone. It's like, what was that? And I'm like messaging Keith every day, like, why do I have this going on? He's like, yeah, keep going. It's working, doing what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I've been practicing Reiki since 2014, and I have all this time, I've never experienced anything like this. So, I don't know what else to say about it, other than you guys to do it.
it's mystical. I mean, here's one of the major differences. You know, Master O, before he formulated this, he's 70 this year. He just turned 70 in February, and celebrated in Macau, because you can't do Qigong in China anymore. And how you like that? It's like not being able to bake apple pie in the United States. I mean, it's just like This is the bedrock of China. And you can't do it because the communist government won't allow it and hasn't since '99, which is why he moved here. And when he was 26, he was put into jail, prison, with no trial, nothing. And he was an atheist, okay? He had very much had bought into the whole idea of communist government and the idea of equality through that model of government. And he had a very mystical experience while he was in prison, away from his daughter and wife, never thought he'd see them again, possibly. And it altered him, truly altered him forever in a very powerful way. And the Qigong form really came out of years of deep study and meditation and examining the internal dynamic that was changing within him, that he could then produce a form, because Qigong was having a resurgence in China in the 80s. And he put this form together over years that would encompass that transformation. So that's one reason why it's so different. There's a lady in town, she's a longtime Qigong instructor, and she showed up. I brought Master O here to town 6 years ago for the first time. It took me forever to finally get around to doing it. He came in, she showed up. I don't know how she heard about him. And the next year she came back for teacher's training, which meant she had been diligent. There's multiple steps. Most people don't become an instructor in a year because they don't do all the steps needed to in a year. They're just not diligent enough. But she did. And she called me one day and she goes, I got to tell you something. I said, what's that? She goes, this stuff is blowing my mind. I mean, I know multiple Qigong styles. My teacher is here in Nashville. She goes, and I don't think she's even told him about, at least then, about Master O and what she had found. And she said, I'm treating my patients. I'm teaching them Qigong form now that I'm an instructor. And they're asking me, how does it do this? You've never done anything that feels like this before with us. What's going on? She goes, I don't know. I can't make any sense out of it. And I'm a Qigong instructor. A long time, went to China, studied this stuff. She goes, I don't get how it works as well as it does. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I said, well, it's because it bypasses your ego. You cannot get egotistical about this Qigong form. It just doesn't make any sense. And when you meet Master O, Crystal, I wish you could fly in July when he's here, in the week of the 14th. He is the most loving, amazing, benevolent, beautiful person. You know, there are I know so many more beautiful women than I do beautiful men. And so when I met him, I was like, wow, finally, you know, I wish this guy was my dad. I mean, he's just got such a beauty about him. He radiates it. And then you start to understand when you meet him, you're like, oh, I get it. Because the first weekend I spent with him, it was in Boston. And after he had done a whole day's worth of teaching, and I think treatments too, we went to Jason and Jenny's apartment. Jason and Jenny Chen's apartment, this little tiny apartment in Boston. He was in there cooking with a couple of other women that come with him from California, and they were in there speaking Cantonese, and they were putting together this amazing meal. And I sat down to eat it, and I had a small glass of wine with me. Okay, small glass. My tolerance isn't that low. And I'm eating this food, and I looked at my buddy Paul and I said, dude, why do I feel like my body is drunk, but my mind is sharper than it's ever been? And he said, because of what he's infusing in the food. When he cooks this food, well, yes, the food's delicious. He's a master chef. And also, he's infusing that life into the food. And he encouraged us, you know, eat more, eat more, eat more. Doesn't speak much English, right? Eat more, eat more. I'm like, I've eaten 4 plates. I don't know how I've eaten this much. And the reason why is because there was so much life in it. So when you meet someone who is the originator, like I said, which is rare in Qigong, and you feel this kind of amazing cultivation of character and integrity and benevolence, you then see why the form that he created is the way that it is. And all I can do is, you know, tell you about how great it was, and you'd have to be there to experience the beauty of it itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even listening to because there's an audio recording that goes along with doing the practice, and even listening to the way he speaks, just the way he says numbers, you're like, wow, there's like this gentle quality to the way he says the numbers. And you're just kind of like, wow, you know, like, yeah, you can hear it in his voice.
He's such a servant, you know. That's how you know you've got somebody who's, to me, how you have somebody amazing in front of you is when they have such a servant's heart, and he is just that, total servant and tireless. And that's what I want to talk about next is the evidence of what this now 70-year-old guy can do every day, since he's been doing this since he was 26. And so everybody on this feed here, I want you to know, if you do the form every day, and one moving form takes 21 minutes and a few seconds if you use the music of him walking you through it, it will alone, that right there, will start to change your life. If you decide to do 2 a day, fit those in somewhere, it, of course, compounds, doubles the effect. And you'll be shocked how you'd feel in 6 months, how you'd feel in a year. Every year I do this, I'm telling you, it gets better and better and better. It awakens more gifts inside of you. The latent abilities you have, it wakes them up. The abilities you already are aware of, it starts to make them stronger and stronger and stronger. And you can even start to feel the areas in you that you don't have access to quite yet, but you're on the verge of. And then you'll have these little mini leaps, these little mini jumps of awakening, if you will. And it's amazing, because the whole idea of this is that love is the only limitation in our lives that keep us from growing in this way. It's like this divine universal governor that's put in our lives. If you want to become really powerful in your existence, then love is the thing that opens the doorway for that to start to blossom to its fullest effect. And it's definitely true in this. If you have a bitter heart, I've watched people who are like, they wanted to get better and feel better because of their health issues. And I've watched them go through this. And I'm telling you, some of the folks that were really harboring a lot of stuff, and me the first 2 years especially, those first 2 years, that stuff was coming up whether I wanted it to or not. And I had to face the things that I had not really dealt with yet. And so I had moments of doing the Qigong, and I would just have tears streaming down my face, tears of relief, of feeling all of this stuff come up inside of me that had been sitting there since my childhood, just pouring out of me. I would feel lighter after it was over, and amazed that I didn't really do anything other than this form, and those started coming out of me. Sometimes I would laugh spontaneously and not know why. So it's just a beautiful regulation that goes inside of your person.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you ladies to ask any questions that you might have. If you want to unmute yourself and just actually ask the question, or if you want to type it in the chat, we will do that and answer those questions. And then while they're formulating their questions, Keith, why don't you share a little bit more about what you would like to do before we are done with this this conversation tonight?
What I would like to do is I would like to have everybody be a collective, which you already are, and I would like to send you energy and maybe work on a couple of just basic things. Okay, I won't go deep into everybody's stuff, because you'd have to invite me to do that, and that would take some time. But just some basic things so you can feel what the energy cultivated through this form can feel like, and what it can start to move. So we'll do something simple here. I'll feel everybody as a group. And a typical one that pops up, of course, is grief and sorrow. It's almost there in everybody, usually at the surface. You don't have to go digging very far to find that one. And the secondary thing we can work on is I'll work on everyone's kidneys and adrenals. How about that? I'm going to stay clear of the liver, because when you start working on people's livers, that's when things really start to come to the surface that you have to deal with for a few days. So let's not do that.
Yeah, we can let the sleeping dogs lie for now.
Right. I agree. But yeah, let's do that. We'll work on kidney and adrenal first, and then we'll move over and I'll work on lung. It'll be quiet. I might say the password phrase out loud, and I'll tell you what that is real fast. So the password phrase is, it's the entire message and purpose of what the Qigong form does within your heart, okay? Because this is very much a heart-centered Qigong form. And the password phrase in English is take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. Now, the Cantonese is much more deep and rich in meaning, and I'll say it to you just so you can feel the Cantonese, for those of you who can feel stuff through sound pretty easily. And it's Yin Qi Xing Le Wai Gi Bun Yi Tan San Yang Loi Wai Hong Wai Yin Qi Yi Lei Doi Qi Yi Lai Dong Qi Yi Cheng Heng Qi Yi Guo. And that message is what works its way into your being and starts to get things moving. Those words encompass all of that intelligent and stabilizing, balancing power that gets brought into the body. Because the basic premise of the Qigong form is the basics of Chinese medicine, which is yin and yang. It's the idea of bringing in yang energy and yin. Okay, we all know those concepts pretty much. That's a masculine and feminine concept. It's a plus and a minus, that type of thing. You're bringing that in the body and then you're harmonizing it. And that's the basic energetic structure of it. The deeper aspect, though, is, well, it is that password phrase of changing your heart, how you treat yourself, how you love yourself, how you treat everybody else, and how you love them. And it just kind of uproots those things that don't match that. So do we have any questions? See on my phone any chat box popping up. I've lost you, Crystal.
I'm back.
There you are. There you
Just talking to myself over here. I was saying I don't see any questions that have popped up yet. Okay. That doesn't mean that there won't be. So if you ladies, just anything that comes to mind, please feel free to just put that out there.
Yeah, and you really can ask me anything. In 14 years of practice, trust me, I have had every question asked of me. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and it may be southern and sweet, but it's also got a little bit of, people can be a little direct too. So I've had every question asked. Bring it on, no worries. But with that, if you want, Crystal, I'll go ahead and just start sending energy to everybody on the broadcast here. And you just place your hands in your lap, palms up, so you can be in a receiving pose to feel the energy a little better. And we'll just start. And I'll say the password phrase out loud a couple of times in English, okay?
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself again. And yeah, so it's just going to be quiet. Everybody get relaxed and do what you got to do to get ready for this, okay?
And so kidneys first, all right? Just feel in the palms of your hands and your body in general. You might feel tingling, hot, cold sensations, movement in your body, anything goes. Here we go. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. Take kindness and benevolence as a basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. I'm going to keep saying that silently to myself, moving energy into your kidneys and adrenals. I will then extract the residue in a bit, and then I'll announce when I move to your lungs, okay? I'm going to announce this because I've just found it again. So there's a blockage sitting in one of the master points, they're called the Huatuo Jiaji point on the back the upper lower back at about lumbar 1 and 2, and there's a blockage in at least 3 that are here. And we're going to unlock that blockage, okay? So I'm just going to be silent for a few moments while I open that up to the kidneys. It's connected to the kidneys. Here we go. Much better on my end. I can definitely feel it opening up. All right, we're going to feed the kidneys now a little more. I was having a hard time getting the energy to go through in a few of you because that was blocked. So see if you can feel possibly a little more in detail what I'm doing in your body now. Yin qi xing le wai gi bun. Yi tan san yang loi wai hong wai. Yin qi le. Doi qi lai. Dong qi cheng. Heng qi yi guo. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. I'm going to move to your lungs now. So here we go to the lungs. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. So one of you has had some type of lung infection in the past because the right lung it looks in my mind's eye thick and occluded like a black cloud in there, was just left over from an illness. Doesn't feel like it was that long ago though. It feels fairly fresh. Now a lot of us have grief patterns that are sitting in our lungs. That's very normal. So let's work on all of those things right now. And then I'll extract everything at once. I changed my mind once we're done with the lungs. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. I'm going to extract everything that's a remnant left over from what we've done. So here we go. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. All right, one last thing here. Make sure we've cleaned everything up that we can for what we've opened up. All right. Are there any questions? What did you experience? There's no wrong answer.
That was amazing. So I had the back thing. That was me. I don't know if anybody else had a back thing, but I've been having this ache in my the middle of my back on the left side. And when you were working there, I felt the energy come in. There was like a pressure, and it kept pulling me backward, like it was pulling it out from the back. It's there's a little bit of a sensation still there, but the ache is gone.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was pretty amazing. That was the main thing that I noticed.
Yeah, so thoracic 3, which is just a little ways. I should have brought my doll with me. It's just down here, not too far down your neck. That is the lung master point area with those Huatuo points along the spine. And it runs along a muscle called the levator scapulae muscle. And so in you, that's what feels like it's had a lot of problems in that area. Okay. So we've got a couple of people who've said some things here. We've got someone before Marina. I'm trying to,
Laura.
Laura has said something. I don't know how to get those back.
Oh, I'll read what she said. She's got, she says, let's see here. Laura said, my mouth is really watering. I feel something in my lower left lung that was not there a little while ago.
Got it. Yeah. So Laura, okay. Yeah, at this point, Laura's left lung feels buzzy to me. It feels like it's got a lot of going on inside of it. It feels like part of a grief pattern over a male. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Does that make sense to you, Laura? You can type in the chat if that makes sense to you. And then Marina says, just a heat all over.
Yeah. So when you get energy moving a lot of times, when it hasn't been, there's a lot of stagnation, you're going to get a lot of heat dispersal. There's a lot of heat moving out of you when you have that kind of a shift. Because you're getting release, and it sometimes is felt as heat. Not always. Sometimes it can be felt as cold. But in this case, it's about we didn't work on the liver directly, but because we worked on the kidneys, it gave the body enough energy to start moving things. Like I said, there's intelligence in the energy anyway. So it went ahead and worked on the liver. And so a lot of what you're feeling with that heat is coming directly from your liver. And a lot of it's frustration with yourself. But there's definitely somebody else that the frustration's around as well. And we'll just say it's around, feels like a male also as well.
Okay. All right. Lynn says, I had small twitches in my thigh on the right and could feel warm. Let's see. And energy moving all over, especially in her head.
Okay. On the right leg, was it more the, could you be more specific? Was it the inner part of the leg, the outer part, lower thigh? What was
Lynn, you can unmute yourself if you want to answer that question.
She's like, no, I can't. I really wish I knew how to do this better on that. Oh, participants, hang on. Maybe I can do it this way. Oh, I can. Hang on. I got her. I found it. Okay, how about now?
There we go.
Yay.
It was the top right. Thank you. You found me out in space. Top right thigh was twitchy.
Mm-hmm.
but I feel little twitches like that with Crystal too, like usually in my back. Like it's just like a twitch that happens that you didn't do yourself.
It's kind of a little spasming that's going on automatically.
Yeah.
Did you notice that in the first part or towards the last half of what we were doing?
Towards the last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a great reason why it was in your thigh. I can feel where it was in your torso that we were working on. You know, on your right side of your thigh, you have the stomach channel, you have the gallbladder channel, and that feels like actually what it was. It was the gallbladder channel more than anything else. That was having a little bit of energy moving through it. And have you had any gallbladder issues?
I did during one pregnancy, and that was almost 30 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just part of treatment. Nothing, doesn't feel like anything really significant as far as anything to worry about.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice. All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Shari is here, and I guess Pete is here too. Hey, to both of you. So Pete says he felt it in his kidneys. It felt like waves and swirling at the same time in her hands for her.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a really common response.
So, hey, so if you want to unmute, you can share.
And if you don't know how, I'll do it for you. I know how to do it now.
Yay, there you go.
I got it. I'll try and get us both in here.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
I felt a ton of energy in my hands. And it was kind of this waving, swirling, a lot kind of going on. And then you felt it in your kidneys?
I felt in my kidney, my left kidney. I felt like a stream of energy rising up my back, kind of, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Left side.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So yeah, there was the left kidney has had a little bit in the adrenal, a little bit of a drain coming from your liver. And the left one definitely was the one that needed the help. And there again, it's the intelligence. I wasn't aiming, I'm aiming for his left kidney. I wasn't doing that. It just went there. And that's because it needed the help. And that's why it needed the help, is it feels like your liver was pulling on it. That happens a lot where, because they're the generators of qi, right? That left kidney is the yin kidney, and the right kidney is the yang kidney. And so they're producing like an alternator on a car. They're producing that negative and positive charge. And that's what's called your prenatal, it's your prenatal energy combining with the food you eat, which produces the energy in your body. So when organs start to get taxed, they want more. And I always talk about Star Trek because I'm such a nerd. And it's like, I need more. I need more engines, Scotty. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain, More power. Yeah. So it's needing more power. And so your kidney's like, all right, we'll try to give you more, until after a while they're like, oh my gosh, we can't give you any more. Figure it out. So that's what happens. That's why yours is a little junky on the left side. So yeah, it's pretty common. And as far as the swirling in the hands, that's really common. That's usually where people, when I started doing the Qigong form, that's where I felt it first. And then it went to and this is just me, it went to my forearms, it went to my feet, my legs, until I think I told Crystal one day, I started saying the password phrase, and I could feel my whole body in my field just light up. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, this is new. And that it never backed down from that. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. And that happens to everybody who does the form. So.
Awesome.
I definitely felt it in my hands and throughout my body, but I'm real in tune to it too. So I'm actually used to it, and it's something that didn't shock me. When I took the position, I was ready to accept and take this energy. And
you're one of the awesome guys, man. You're one of the awesome dudes. There's a lot of great, cool women. We need more cool dudes. Got a cool dude.
That's right. He is a cool dude.
We do. You do. I got to be real careful who I talk to about this. But I still put it out there. I mean, that's who I am. So.
You're part of an awesome nuts group. We're all nuts, and we're proud of it.
Right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's see if there were any other comments. Jennifer said she felt the achiness in the right side of her mid-back.
I'm just trying to find Jennifer on the screen. There's Jennifer. I can't see you, Jennifer. All right. Yeah, Jennifer, if you had somebody go to your back and go to about that bra strap area and go to the right of the spine and feel there's a really tender knot back there. It's not the only one in your back, but it pertains to what you're reporting. And again, liver, which is, the most common adult syndrome in Chinese medicine is liver qi stagnation. And so that's what that knot's about on the right side of your spine at about bra level. And there's a lot of emotion stored in there right now. I mean, a lot. So you may notice some law of cure effects in the next day or two. It's possible. And if you have anybody in your life that you're comfortable with putting their thumb on that knot and holding it down, have them just apply comfortable but noticeable pressure on it. And allow whatever emotions come up when they do that to just come up. That's why I say get to someone you're comfortable with. And that way you can really let that out. It's significant, and it'll be really relieving to have that come out of there. That's one of the easiest ways to mechanically get things to come out, is to have that master point pressed while you let yourself sink into the emotions that come up and just surrender to them. And then they have a much easier way out of your body. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
cool.
Great.
I'm trying not to say too much. Just enough where you're like, I got what you're saying. Not too much detail.
Yeah. And we can even work on that in your next session, Jennifer. If it's still bothering you, we can work on it this week. Right? We have an appointment this week, I think.
Perfect timing. That's good.
All right. Does anybody else have any other comments or questions that they want to share? I actually do. So after my first session it was very similar to what you guys just experienced working with my question was, well, what do I do now? Like, I still feel like I need more help. What do I do? And he said, there's this Qigong practice that I really want to teach you. And that's it, really. Like, in my estimation, like, that's it. That's where we're all at. I think that's where we're all at. Along with, some of the other tools and techniques that I'm sharing with you guys, developing a practice where you're cultivating your own qi. Mm-hmm. All I can tell you is that it is changing me. And that's why I really wanted you guys to get this information. And so I guess if anybody else has that question, like, what's next?
Crystal, you have something coming next that you don't know about yet.
What?
You're at 30 days of doing the moving form at least once every day. And that allows you to learn the non-moving form. It means your body's prepared itself enough to then do the non-moving. There are 3 forms: moving, non-moving, and the advanced form. I don't teach the advanced form, only Master O does. But Crystal's ready to do that. And it really takes this in a different direction. So yay. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
I you know what? I did. I forgot. And so yay. Yay me. I'm ready.
You don't have to. You can just do the moving form for the rest of your life, and you could change a lot of things.
No, it was funny because yesterday I was thinking about it. Yesterday I was driving and I was like, it would be I wonder what that's like. I wonder what the non-moving form is like. And so I was listening to Master O in the car, driving, listening to him count.
Yeah, and here's the thing: when you know the non-moving form, you'll be able to drive in your car and do that, and actually do the form, the non-moving, with him on the music. But it tends to make you really sleepy when you do the non-moving form. So when you're driving, you have to be really careful when you're doing the non-moving form, or hope that your car has automatic,
right? The wake me up button.
If you don't have a Tesla, you may be in trouble.
Yeah. And I thought about that too as I was doing. I was like, well, is this going to make me sleepy? Well, I'll remain alert. I'll set my intention. So yeah. So that was the question that I had. I don't know if that's a question that any of you guys have, but if it is, what I would love to do is invite you to, if that is something that you'd like to do, to invite you to connect with Keith, outside of this, and figure out for yourself what's next.
Yeah, sure. And I'll answer any questions you have. If you have more questions in the next few days, just let me know. I'll answer them. Absolutely. As soon as I can get to them, I'll give you the best answer as I can. And that way you have the most informed decision.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. I really appreciate you guys showing up and letting me yammer at you for a while.
So look at that. It is 5:59 p.m. We did it in under an hour. Yay. You guys are awesome. I love you all, as you know, and thank you so much, Keith, for being here.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Jennifer wants to know, how do we connect with Keith? Jennifer has my contact information. You can call, message me on Facebook.
Crystal
text me.
I do.
Crystal. Who did I say? I'm sorry, I said Jennifer. I meant to say Crystal. I saw Jennifer's name.
Happens to me all the time. Yeah, so I'll make sure you guys have that info. I will post links, and you guys you will have that information inside the Healers Toolkit group to get connected and go further with it. Because like I said, I'm not going to tell you what you should do, but I'm telling you what I'm doing, and I really think it's great. Yeah, it's
Thanks,
beyond
Crystal.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so we will see you all later. Have a good night.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.